Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my channel. I know that I said that I was on break, but today's the day that I'm posting the final episode of Scary Story Saturdays. I'm very thankful for you guys enjoying my series, and welcome to the grand finale and ending of the show, which is great. Also, I am going to be continuing on break after this video, so I'll let you know when I am done and when I will plan or do a video. So enjoy today's episodes, and also thank you guys for getting me up to 34 subscribers, and I'll talk more about that later in the video. This story is called My Terrifying Halloween Experience. And this story, it talks about it's about a home invasion. So just a little disclaimer: if you're afraid of home invasion, this is not based on a true story. But if you have a common fear of home invasion, then I suggest you leave. But those who don't, you may stay. This story took place in the month of October. It was Halloween. Me and my college friends were having a Halloween party at my house. We were we were having a great time playing games, drinking alcohol, and watching scary movies such as Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street. The time was 10 o'clock, and most of my friends had to leave because they felt tired and had work the next day. But only 3 of my friends stayed because they wanted to hang out more and help me clean up the house. If you're wondering if I was throwing a party behind my parents' back, well, the truth of that is, before I had this party, I asked my parents if it was okay, and of course they said no, and that they were going on a trip to get out of the house for a couple of days. So yeah, you could say that I did throw a party behind my parents' back. Anyway, three of my friends, my 3 friends were named Lisa, Asher, and Becky. We were friends throughout our whole lives and had lived in the same neighborhood together. They decided to stay because not only did they want to hang out more, but like I said, they also wanted to pick up the mess that my other guests had left, and I had no problem with them staying to help, but it didn't matter to me if they hung around either, because my parents are friends with their parents, and it's my parties, so yeah. So me and Becky were cleaning the downstairs area while Ash and Lisa were cleaning upstairs. It took us 30 minutes to pick up all the candy wrappers, food, and the bottles of alcohol everywhere. We were done throwing away most of the trash and put them in the bins at the front of the house. And then after that, we continued to clean the house until it was 11. Me and my friends just got done cleaning the house and decided to relax and watch more horror movies to pass the time. My friend Asher then asked me if we could get some pizza since we were done cleaning, and most of us were hungry. So I said sure. I grabbed my phone, looked up the nearest pizza place, and dialed the business number. I told him that we would like to have some pizza, and the order that I gave him was 1 Hawaiian, 1 pepperoni, 1 cheese, and 1 sausage. The guy on the other side of the call said that the pizza would be ready within 20 minutes, and it would be delivered as soon as the pizza was ready. I said okay, and I hung up the phone since the order was already placed, and then told my friends that it would be 20 minutes before the pizza was ready, and that they would deliver it to us. My friends all agreed that it was okay for them to wait. So we began to take a break from watching scary movies since it was getting boring for most of us, and started a conversation amongst ourselves to pass the time even more. It was this time where I pulled out my phone and checked the time. It was 11:20, and I called the place to see if the pizza was ready, and that the guy that I talked to earlier said that the pizza was ready and that he already sent a guy to deliver it. He told us that he would be there soon. I thanked the guy and hung up the phone again. I told Ash to go near the door and to check to see if he could see the pizza guy. Me, Becky, and Lisa were in the living room talking, and then I heard Ash say that the pizza guy was here. I told Lisa and Becky to stay in the living room while I went to get Asher to stay with them, as I paid the pizza guy. When I was close to the door, I touched Asher's shoulder and told him to stay with Becky and Lisa while I paid the delivery guy. Asher told me to be careful because when he saw the guy, he looked a little unhinged. I said okay, thanks for the tip, and walked to the living room. I looked through the peephole on the main door and saw the guy walking around back and forth. And at first I thought he was waiting, so I slowly opened the door. As soon as I did, I saw the guy stopped in his tracks. Then he picked up the pizza on the ground and handed it to me very quickly and took the money from my hand and ran to his car and drove off. Regardless of his behavior, I was glad that we got the pizza anyway. My friends came to me and asked what happened. I told them that the guy gave me the pizza and left with my money. Becky told me that the guy was probably in a hurry or something, while Lisa and Asher were telling me that the guy probably was scared of something and that he was in a hurry. Like I said before, I regarded the guy's behavior, and we went into the kitchen to eat. Wait for a bit, and then my friends were going to leave since we were done with everything. But then Asher asked me if he could use the restroom, and I said that he could, and gave him directions to where the restroom was. Since it has been a while since I've seen him, since this pandemic. The restroom was down the hall to the right of the path. He thanked me and walked down the hallway. Becky and Lisa were getting their stuff, and then all of us heard Asher scream. Me, Becky, and Lisa ran down the hallway towards the restroom where we saw Asher standing frozen as if he couldn't move. I asked Asher what was wrong, and he pointed to the windows and said that there was a man outside. At first I was skeptical and walked in there with him, and it turned out that he was telling the truth. The man at the window had a creepy-like smile on his face, and was wearing the same delivery outfit of the pizza guy that came here before. As I looked closer, there was a lot of blood on the uniform. The guy then said, "Looks like more people to hunt," in a deep, raspy voice. I told my friends to lock all the windows and doors while I was going to call the police. As soon as I grabbed my phone, and when I looked back at the window, the guy was gone. And the next thing I knew, the power went out. Becky and Lisa screamed, and we were now sobbing with terror. Asher went to look for a weapon, and I went to switch my internet from Wi-Fi to mobile data, and this time I dialed 911 and called the police. I told him that there was a guy at my house, and he cut the power and killed somebody, and now trying to break into my home. I told them that I was now using a mobile data to contact him, along with telling them I had 3 friends with me. The dispatcher told me that the police would be there in 10 minutes. I said okay, and then I hung up the phone and told everyone that the cops are on the way. Asher told Becky and Lisa to go upstairs and hide, while me and him were going to get ready to be ready when this guy tries to break in, and when he does, we will do our best to defend ourselves and Lisa and Becky. We heard a window shatter, and we went around the house to see where it came from. The guy managed to break in through the living room window. He had a knife in his hand and was facing towards me. He then tried to lunge at me with the knife in his hand, but luckily my friend Asher hit his hand with a baseball bat and him a few times, and then we both ran upstairs. As soon as we were halfway through the staircase, the guy cut Asher's leg, causing him to scream. But then the guy was full speed coming up the stairs. I grabbed Asher and pushed him up the stairs while I confronted the guy. I learned karate when I was 6, and as soon as he tried to stab me, I grabbed his hand, twisted it, and then kicked the knife down the stairs. Then he tried to punch me, but I blocked his punch and gave him a kick in his crotch, and he began to roll down the stairs. Then the police cars were at the front of the house and barged in through the door and put the guy in handcuffs while the sergeant came and asked us if we were okay. I said we were, but my friend Asher was hurt. Luckily, they brought paramedics with them and came in to treat his wounds. I gave a call to my parents and told them everything. I told them that everything was okay, and I told them about the party and everything, because if I told them later, they would be upset with me otherwise. My parents told me that they were glad everyone was okay, and that I was prepared for the situation. The guy that the police captured was in the mental hospital, but he somehow escaped and began to go on a killing spree. Also, I realized that the behavior from the pizza man was that he was in fear and was trying to get out of there as soon as possible, but he was then caught and killed, because later the police told us that they found the body almost near the house with his shirt missing, with his clothes missing. So it turned out that he did take the guy's clothes, and that's how he managed to get the uniform. Ever since then, I have never ordered pizza unless I was there personally. As for my friend Asher, his leg was stitched and is now fully healed. We still we still hang out at my place, but now their parents have a curfew set for each of them ever since what happened that day. And as of now, the guy is back in prison, back in the mental asylum, and this time he won't be able to escape. Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our final story of today's episode. And since it is the final episode, please stay tuned for after, because I did say in the beginning that I would be mentioning something, and I would. Now let's get into the story. Today's story, and the second and final story, is called I Dated a Cannibal. So, starts off saying, before I tell you this story, I just want to let everyone know that who is hearing or reading it to be careful of who you meet and date, because there are times in this world where you may think everything could be great, but it would later prove that you were wrong. And also, guys, just a heads up, this story is about cannibals, and it does contain about murder and other gruesome details. So if you're afraid, please leave. And if you're not and you have a strong stomach, then stay. Here it goes. My name is Eric. I live in this small town in the southern parts of Mississippi. I think it was called Tupelo. I lived there, Tupelo. I lived in that part of town my whole life and had made friends with a lot of people. But that's not where the actual story starts. Also, just wanted to let you know, the town of Tupelo is where Elvis was born. Anyway, back to the story. It was in the middle of the spring, and I was just getting off my shift from a 7-Eleven gas station. Me and my friends were heading towards a bar to get a drink because we were pretty beat. We arrived at the local bar near our hometown and began to have a few drinks. If you thought we were taking too many shots of alcohol, you were assuming me wrong. Since I had a job, I only took one shot and left the bar waving my friends goodbye. And the reason because of that is, since I have a job, drinking was not my benefit. I just took one shot and left. Just to paraphrase. I went home and called it a night. The next morning, I did my natural routine and left my house to go to work. As I arrived there to clock in, I saw this woman at the counter. Her hair was red as a rose. Her dress was beautiful as a lavender flower. Immediately, I had feelings for her. But then I had to dismiss them because I had a job, and I asked her if she needed anything. She told me that she needed to pay for gas for her car, and no one was able to register her card. I told her that I was late for my job as a cashier. I apologized to her and registered her car in the machine, and managed to allow her to use the pump. I was giving her card back since I registered her payment to use the pump, and as I was handing her card, she slipped me a little folded piece of paper. She then blew me a kiss and left the door. I took the sheet of paper and opened it to find out she had written her address and phone number. My heart was pumping, and I was even happy that my customer had a crush on me, and I already had the same feelings for her. But this would soon change my opinion. But anyway, to the details. It was a Thursday night, and I told my boss that I would take the day off because I had a date with someone. My boss and I were friends, so he agreed to let me go as long as I came back the next day. I said thank you and left taking my things. I was on my way home, and I was driving. And as I was driving, I called the woman I had a crush on and asked her if she would like to go out to dinner. She replied saying yes, and asked me what time I would pick her up. I told her around 7 because I left around 5 o'clock, and it would take me an hour to get to my house to get ready. She said that she would be ready by then, and I hung up. Within a few minutes, I managed to arrive at my house. I went in and started to head for the shower. Then I put on an outfit that would be nice looking since I planned on taking her to a pretty nice restaurant. After I finally got dressed, it was 6:30. I called her saying that I was on my way, and she told me to take my time. I said okay and hung up again. I got in my car and typed her address on Google Maps and followed the directions to her house. By the time I arrived, she was heading towards my car, but as she was on her way to get in the passenger side, I looked at her house and noticed that the building looked old and had been there for years. I had a red flag about the situation. She got in a car and I drove off to the destination of the restaurant as we were on the way. I asked her about her place, and she said that the house belonged to her mother, and after she passed, she had left the house with her. I felt sorry for her, and I told her that I was sorry if I offended her. She said that it was okay, that it is okay, and she has dealt with other guys that also judged her home based on how it looks. We decided to change the topic and began talking about other stuff like what we were interested in and all that. Usual flirting work. We finally arrived at the place and started to register a table, and not too long after, we ordered our meals and began to eat. We ate our dishes and began to have a conversation for a while. My stomach was hurting, and I told her that I needed to use the restroom, and she said that I could go since I was feeling bad. I went to the restroom and used it. Afterwards, I washed my hands and went back to our table, and then I took a sip from my glass, and the next thing I knew, it started to get droopy, and I heard my date say that it was time for me to get to rest. Sorry guys, I ate some food and I'm a little bit gassy, so I'm very sorry. I didn't know how long I was out, but I woke up in a room that smelled like something died, along with seeing my arms and legs being strapped down. I was panicking and my mind was racing, and the only thing I could do was scream for help. I shouted for help, then a familiar face came out the door. It was the lady I was dating. I started to calm down, and she said that there was no need to scream. I relaxed and asked her why I was tied up, and the next thing I heard would be scarred in my memory for life. She looked at me and gave me a smile and said, "I'm going to kill you." I asked her why, and she said the reason why she wanted to kill me was because I was quote unquote too delicious to lose. I was scared out of my mind and began to call for help, but then she came on top of me and put a piece of scotch tape around my mouth. Not scotch tape, box tape or flex tape or whatever on my mouth. Around my mouth, and then she showed me a body that she had. I saw the bite marks on the corpse, and was shaking because this wasn't her first time that she killed someone and ate their flesh. Then she grabbed a cleaver and started to walk closer to me. I tried moving my arms and legs to get loose, but she tied me pretty good, and all I was thinking about was that I was going to die. But then there was a loud bang down the stairs, and I heard someone say, "Police." I was relieved that the police had come to my rescue. The officers ran to the room I was in, and the woman tried to swing her cleaver at them, but she was immediately shot by the officers. They came towards the bed and ripped the tape off my face, which was painful, but I was glad that they came in time. The other officer began to untie me and asked me if I was okay, and I replied saying yeah, but I was also traumatized because of everything that I have seen. Sorry guys, my hair is being sticky. Well, it's not really sticky. I just got out of the shower. It's just tangly. Anyway, traumatized from everything that I've seen. The officers escorted me outside and began to tell me about the lady I was dating. The woman's name was Anna Mitchell. She was wanted for a series of murders in Oklahoma, where her victims were killed and eaten, and the type of victims she mostly attacked were middle-aged or younger men. When police had her DNA on her victims, they tried looking for her but couldn't find her. I asked them how they managed to find her place. The police told me that a local customer at the restaurant we ate saw her spike my drink, and after she left, I dropped the letter of her new address and called then they called the local police. I couldn't believe that the woman I dated was a wanted murderer and cannibal. It also turned out the house she lived in wasn't her mother's house at all, but a location where she could commit her crimes. Since it was also in the middle of nowhere, which made sense. After what happened, I decided not to date anyone after that because of the trauma that I'm still refusing to date anyone today because of what I've experienced. You may think that this is a funny joke, but it really wasn't. I could have died in that room. Anyway, I went to work, and as I got there, my boss came to me and said that he was sorry. I told him that it wasn't his fault, but it was mine. I should have looked at her background and reported her to, but I didn't because I was blinded by my affections for her. And she looked too beautiful to be a murderer. Guys that have received, I have a message for you guys, for those who work in restaurants, gas stations, and any other place. Guys, if you ever receive a letter from a customer, to be sure to check the background first. And if he or she is wanted for something illegal, report it. Don't hook up with them like I did, because one day it can even cost your life. So guys, you have made it to the final ending of Scary Story Saturdays, and I'm very glad that you guys have made it this far. I'm also glad that I have reached 234 subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you have a great Halloween next week. Enjoy, and these stories will be posted on a playlist, and I'll have it at the end of the video. And as for content, there will be new content. But as of now, I'm on break. I'm going to take a long break. But once I'm done with my break, I will come back and do some content. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys very much. And I'm very thankful for you guys watching and entertaining yourselves with my videos. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe in the bottom.